Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, thank you all very much for joining us here. It does make the forum infinitely more worthwhile with you all here and online. But in order to get to this stage, can I start by saying a big thank you to our chairman, Tim Brigstock, for arranging the 31st National Equine Forum, and just to say how much we miss him. But we look forward to seeing him again, but also to thank those who've stepped up this year, so particularly Vice Chair Pat Harris and all our other committee members who've all made an impact today. But we know that this is a very widely spread forum. We need a support from all over. That's the whole point of the exercise. So we are very grateful for our committee members for taking on those responsibilities and spreading the word. We certainly, we look for turnover from time to time, although we very much miss those who are moving on, like Professor Tim Morris and Debbie Romans as committee members. We look forward to new members, and I hope that you will support them in the future. Your presence is an enormous encouragement, as it is indeed online. And I hope you feel that it demonstrates the need for a forum such as this in the equestrian sector, and what a difference it makes to hear the truth as it is spoken by all those who practice. One of the challenges that I think we all have, and it's one of the things that we are grateful from all our speakers for, is working our way through what the information is that is out there, that is reliable, to create those organisations which reflect the best of working practices, to make it available to more people, and to know exactly what it is that you should be looking for and what that should sound like. This is not always easy. I promise you I'm not going to go through the whole day, but a lot of it has revolved around statistics and reports. And I'm sorry, but I find statistics not always as helpful as the sort of bare numbers would suggest. I'm trying to be polite here. In many respects they are, but if I don't know what the question was in the first place, I'm sorry, I'm not entirely sure I mind what the figures come up with. You do need to know what the question was and who was asking it in order to be able to understand whether this is of real value. And the more generalist and generic that is, the worse it's likely to be, because you all know, because you all represent very different areas of equestrian interest. You all think it doesn't apply to you. I know this because with the Citizens Advice Bureau, who does a lot of statistical evidence, so each of their branches do their own statistics for what they provide in terms of advice and who comes, what the subjects are. And it makes perfect sense to those branches, and it enormously supports the work that their volunteers do and how they approach it. All of that branch evidence and statistics then go to the centralised Citizens Advice Bureau, who then produce their own statistics. I rather annoyingly ask the branches how they see that, those statistics, do they apply to them? So far I haven't met a single branch who found that was true, in spite of the fact that they contributed to those statistics. It is useful, but it's not the end story. And all of you need to understand how it works with you, what your statistics are. There is evidence-based, not just observation, but evidence-based decisions you can make. It's not always easy to do, and prevention is particularly difficult to do, however you do statistics. But understanding what that means and how you interpret it, and whether you can translate that into your particular area of interest, takes a bit more working out. But what I hope is that those statistics you were given today give you the options to stop and think about what that means and how that might be useful to you. Will it change that relationship with those that you work mostly with? Does it help you produce a way of working better together with agencies you might not have otherwise done so? And particularly, as we've been hearing today, will it help with those that come to you in whatever capacity that is, as an interested participant, an owner, a trainer, a rider, and all the different definitions you can come to that are actually involved in paying in some way towards the upkeep of our equine friends. And there are lots of them. And I rather hope you'll find that today has contributed to that sum of knowledge that will all help you in your particular areas of interest and work. It certainly has me, I think. It is a question of picking what, from your own experience, is relevant and how you can make best use of it. And the stories that we've heard today from individuals that highlight the value of some of that work, to actually see it in action. I don't know that everybody's had a Gavin to deal with, but you know that there are animals out there that you genuinely like at the end of the day, but at the beginning, not so likable. But you made the effort, and that relationship improved to a point which was not only a good working relationship, but actually was a very long-standing one. All of that, those are all personal stories of individuals who've been able to build those relationships. But that story had, I hope, a broader sense of where to go to look for help for those who remember that actually there is help out there, that you don't have to struggle with these things. It's not an admission of failure, which I get is sometimes the way that people see it. I think I was fortunate that I was encouraged to think that if you don't get on particularly well with a horse, there's usually somebody out there who will or can, and it'll work for them. And just keeping it in the same place and repeating the exercises and hoping you're going to come up with a different answer, probably not a good idea. And that there are organisations out there that can help you do that. But of all the other issues about how well we look after animals, you could go through the list. Vaccines, all sort of get, please define welfare. I'm afraid is all overtaken, I think, by what we heard at the end there from Charlotte and Alec about the impacts of the war in Ukraine on the equine population. And those people who not only had looked after them and owned them, but wanted to defend them, whatever that cost them. I don't know whether those who might say they have no interest in horses and don't think we should have anything to do with them could possibly relate that experience. The level of care, the level of protection to look after those individual horses that they knew, be way beyond anything that they would even begin to imagine on the basis that I'm not interested, so it's not a good idea. We all need sometimes to broaden our perspective, and that no doubt did, because it hones in on the fundamental relationship that we have with horses, why we have them as equines, with that donkeys or horses, why that relationship exists, and how much you want to defend it, and your ability to look after them in your best possible way that you can. So thank you very much indeed to Charlotte for her efforts on our behalf, and for all those who produced so much support that she had to stay there for 7 months. It would have been in some ways easier if there hadn't been, but that she worked her way through all of the handicaps involved in translating the ready offers of help and support from the UK and other countries to make a difference, to understand there was a real pressure on those equine owners in Ukraine, but not knowing how to get it through. Now that's often true, and World Horse Welfare will tell you that, even with people who want the help, it's not always easy to get that to the right place at the right time. In direct relation to a war zone, virtually impossible. You are back to basics in a big way. And I hope that that reminds us of what those basics truly are and what they truly mean, and that the ability to join up and collaborate and make that work at that basic level is a huge encouragement to the whole equestrian world, and should remind us the things that we need to do here to collaborate and make sure we understand what welfare means and how we promote it. And that even here, there are plenty of people who work in the equestrian sector who probably would be prepared to take a beating on behalf of their horses if they thought they were going to be mistreated. So all of you who have come and joined us today can think we can celebrate all of those who've made that impact over the years. And we're very, very grateful for so many of you giving up your time to join us today. Finally, I'm delighted that we're announcing the winner of the Sir Colin Spedding Award. I'm grateful that we had 3 editions of his parables and well-known sayings. I think he would have come up with some very suitable ones for today. This, of course, is an annual award, not necessarily, of course, because it's only presented when there is a candidate of sufficient merit. And that hasn't been too difficult this year, I have to say. But moving on from this year, can I just remind you that you will be able to make a nomination for the 2024 Sir Colin Spedding Award via the website later today, or through your feedback form, which will be circulated tomorrow. And as you know, the winner receives a certificate of recognition to keep permanently, but particularly a bronze of the stag beetle, which is very much the identity of Sir Colin Spedding's that we keep for that particular award. So now I'd like to invite Jim Eyre, who's the organising committee member, to read out the citation for the Sir Colin Spedding Award.
The Sir Colin Spedding Award for 2023 is presented to Charlotte Thornycroft in recognition of her dedication and support for the British Equestrians of Ukraine Fund during 2022 and 23. Initially setting up and becoming the linchpin of the Polish supply hub, Charlie worked selflessly in challenging and extraordinarily stressful situations to ensure that aid got to where it was needed most, while managing the care and evacuation of horses from war-torn areas. She continued coordinating the delivery of relief supplies on her return back to the UK, and without doubt she has helped maximise the impact of the fund and save the lives of so very many horses. Charlie, please come to the stage to collect your certificate and the bronze stag beetle from our President, Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal.
Curious to see where someone will end up.
Well, I still speak to most of them all the time. And only yesterday, things changing like that. I spoke to them and being really on. Spoke to them
Well done. Well, it's little enough from us anyway, so I'll say thank you.
Thank you very much.